Episode of the Ever Black podcast is brought to you by Death Wish Hot Rods and Customs. Check out their Instagram for all their new t-shirts, caps, beanies, cups, and the all-new Atomic Death lineup.
Yeah. Something like that. Like it's, you know, I've had soundtracks that throughout the years that I've just absolutely still loved because of the connection to the movies, like that I had on as a kid, like the Ghostbusters 2 soundtrack I had on cassette. And I fucking know how cheesy and shit it is. It's that early 90s rap. You know, it's like really bad movie tie-in tracks, but I fucking love it, eh?
But that stuff's kitschy and fun. It's like the Turtles soundtracks and stuff like that. You know, they all have their songs that we all know. We all remember, like Ninja Rap, all that crap, where it's like, it's not good music, but it's still really catchy in the context of the pop medium that it's being placed within. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It works. And that's what's kind of odd. It's like, you know, I don't think a whole bunch of famous classical songs would have gotten as big as they did if they weren't wedged into films like Die Hard and stuff like that, you know, in almost comical sequences. Just to prove a point.
Oh, that's it. But you know what, man? Some of my favorite musical pieces are from moments in film, like in Alien 3. That
Yep.
I don't know what the actual, you know, what title is, but when Ripley, spoilers, jumps into the, you know, the molten, that how just, man, that's like one of my favorite pieces of music, like fucking ever. Like I get all like wet-eyed when I hear it.
That's it. And it's like some of those scores will just bring a certain response. And I'm not sure, like Alien 3, I kind of remember who was on that at that point. It's like, God, I know James Horner did some of them, but I can't remember exactly which ones. And, you know, those films, as we know, change directors so fast. It's like Spinal Tap with drummers. You don't really know what you're going to get in the next one. Because every film is like director of the week getting attached. Do you know what I mean? It was pretty weird for a period. Like, it's like, who wants to have a go at making this? And it's like, okay, let's get the guy who did City of Lost Children or whatever. Let's get him to do one. And it's like, that's going to be an interesting film.
Oh, man, I do not like Alien Resurrection. I've tried many times over the years to revisit it, and it's just so French and arty.
I have moments I like, but like I really appreciate that art side of like French cinema. I love that stuff. I live for it. But I don't necessarily appreciate it being shoved into the zeitgeist of you know, hardcore sci-fi, where I just want like this almost like, you know, almost like Starship Troopers, where you're almost looking for, and I don't mean this in an offensive way, but it's almost like this future outlook where all of the military almost have like this Nazistic appeal to them. It's really horrible because everyone's like gray uniforms, you know, there's strict rules on everything, and it's like it's way worse than we are now. It's even further progressed. You know what I mean? And it's like really disturbing because like Starship Troopers is a perfect example of that satire, and I think that's what they were trying to do with Resurrection, but it just dropped so far short of the mark because it's not a series you put that sort of context on.
It's not, and like the end spoilers, like we're talking about like fucking 30-year-old spoilers or something.
Yeah, I'm like, how old are that film?
There's going to be someone out there that'll be like, I haven't fucking seen it. But you know what I mean? Like the whole orgy scene.
Yeah.
Where it's
the weird writhing.
And she just, it's like, she's like, all right, we're going to the xenomorph gangbang. And then has
I guess it beat Antichrist to the tree gangbang, didn't it?
Predate.
Predate, maybe that's what I'm like, Lars von Trier definitely did not get inspiration from Alien Resurrection.
You know, if we asked old Lars, you know, favorite scene is he's like a bit in Alien Resurrection.
I'd just be like, I give up. I quit life.
Pause that, you know.
Masterpiece.
It's like the master. Yeah, it's like it's the greatest thing in cinema history.
I just, oh man, that would be terrifying. I don't know how I feel about that.
No, I don't know. It's no. But anyway, we've been talking,
what's going on?
soundtracks. But Colin, thanks for joining us on the show.
Oh, you're all good, man. Sorry.
Hey, man, that's been a good chat. It's been a good little long intro to the show, but it's been fun.
No worries, man. It's
Well, of
been
course,
very good. It's good to see you.
It is good to see you, dude. It is very good to see you. Of course, your electronic metal hybrid project, Monsters Around Us, is about to drop the new collaboration track, Bulletpress. And that features Matt from Cryptopsy and Jared from Rivers of Nile. Nihil.
This is correct?
It is. No, I know, because he corrected me. Toby, sorry. But it's a great track, man. It's fucking sick.
Thanks, man. I'm glad you liked it. You know, I've sort of, shared it to yourself and a couple of other people involved with the project, and it's something I'm not sure how it was born fully. The whole like Monsters Around Us project, the original idea was just after finishing up with Schoenberg Automaton, which is the project I was doing vocals in.
Yes.
I was just looking for something to do where I didn't have to rely on other musicians. I mean, I love being in a band, but we also all know that bands are like, being with 4 wives, or more, depending or less, depending on the band. But every single one has a nuance. Every single one has to have something that you have to understand and you have to work with.
Yes.
No one is perfect, and that's humans, and that's fine. But you do that for like 10 years plus, you just like, the grind becomes real. My own medical issues got in the way back then as well.
Yeah.
And you just kind of have to look at things and go, shit, do I want to approach music this way? So it became, I'm going to try doing a solo thing. And I've always loved electronic music. Obviously love death metal. I'm never not going to love death metal, black metal, extreme metal in general. But I've always thought there was an interesting meeting point between the two that isn't really explored. There are a lot of really cool acts out there, like the Algorithm and stuff that hybridize. He does a lot of gent influences and extreme metal influences with the French new wave of electronic music, like your Daft Punk style acts, stuff like that. Whereas I always thought, from my perspective, there's a lot of crossover between UK drum and bass, hip hop, break beats, and then if you flip that side with like slam, New York death metal, there's still that dun 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 when it's slow. Even when it's fast, there's always those sort of blasts that aren't necessarily a constant blast. And I've always just listened to a lot of it, a lot of old school death metal, and gone, why hasn't anyone really mashed it up? And I'm not saying I've invented something new here, by the way. It's just the way my brain works. But it's like, no one's really approached meeting the two where neither is lesser or more than the other, if that makes any sense. And I mean, you've heard the track, so you can tell me. And by all means, if you feel differently, please tell me.
No.
But I feel like the project now is about trying to find that hybrid where I can have extreme metal, but also extreme electronics, and have the two actually work very well together, and have it almost be like a band at times on certain tracks or EPs or whatever, but not have to have everyone involved in the songwriting, which was like interesting to do with this one, because I released an album earlier in the year, Inverted Signs, which had a couple of guests on that. Some of the guys from Frontier, Pierre, the guitarist, one of the guitarists from Kadjina, who's an insane jazz guitarist. And then after doing that, I was like, well, why can't I get more and just get more interesting? So I've sort of shit talked with Jared for a while, and I just said, hey man, do you want to play? And he was like, okay. COVID's boring. Like everyone else, like life was pretty stagnant when I approached him, and it was sort of a weird time. And he's like, yeah, let's give it a crack. And he was actually setting up a space where he could record and stuff.
Oh, shit, that's awesome.
Which is, because he wants to be able to do session work and other things like that, and, do videos and shit. So perfect timing, I guess, serendipitous, but also just similar sort of attitudes and approaches. And I sent him basically a construction of a whole bunch of riffs, not even knowing if that's how the song would be constructed, but just with the tempos, time signature, and all that sort of stuff. And within like a week of me sending him what I would consider horrendously recorded guitar tracks, because they're just scratch tracks, but they were like shit tracks. shit tracks is what we call them. They weren't great. So what sent them off. Within a week, he just sends back 2 solid takes to this stuff that is just metronome precision. Nothing wrong with it that I could find. I'm like, actually, he's done this change here and I like this. So what he did then informed how I reconstructed all the riffs and stuff to then fit what he'd supplied. Because like I said, it's a collaboration. It's not where I'm going to go, dude, that's not, I want you to play like this. No, I don't want any of that. Because that removes him from being involved. He's just a gun for hire at that point. And then it was the same thing with getting Matt from Cryptopsy to do vocals. It's one thing I remember for Schoenberg and stuff like that, like, or being in any band, it's one thing approaching someone going, hey, do you want to do a guest vocal spot or whatever? And, you know, people might have their rates or their time limitations or, you know, what they consider a guest spot. It was a bit different messaging Matt and just going, you know, we've talked for a little bit through his Vox and Hops guys, because I've always been a beer appreciator and I've been pretty active in their Facebook page back in the day and stuff when it was started up. So Matt and I have always talked, and I did some filming when Cryptopsy came here last time and we met through Facebook that way. But he's always talked about how he's interested in different projects, weirder genres, hybridizing and things like that. So I was like, hey, Matt, I'm actually doing this project. This is Inverted Science. I sent him the album at that point. If you're interested, let me know. He's like, no, this is sick. Just let me know what you need for vocals, when you need, etc. And when the time came around, I'm like, it's not really a guest vocal spot. I just need you to like write vocals for the whole song and then do vocals for a whole song. So you're like actually doing the vocals, not just the guest per se. And he's like, okay, what's the theme? And then we just went from there.
That's awesome. Hey, I mean, it's called Bulletpress. I mean, but how does that sort of tie in? What's
so a lot of Monsters like principles thematically are based around, you know, not conforming to religious ideals, and, you know, I know it sounds cliched for metal, but just in general, not being forced down by anyone. And it's whatever you consider that pressure to be. It could be your work, it could be a family member, it could be whatever. It's whatever you can identify with. So where were we going with this? I'm getting sidetracked with that answer. Apologies.
No. I just, the lyrical themes and how it sort of ties.
Oh yeah. So with Bulletpress, sorry, mate.
All good.
So when Matt and I were talking about it, he was asking about whether I wanted to supply lyrics or not. And I basically said, look, the theme of when I was creating it textually is like we were talking about with films earlier. Because I think about everything like a movie, because I used to do music videos as well and shit like that. So when I was constructing it in my head, I actually have this weird thing where I associate images with audio, and it helps me construct stuff. Yeah. And if you know it, it'll help you make things.
Yes.
Like really, really well. So I always have this like very industrial mindset when I'm writing this sort of stuff, because I work with more bit crushed and mechanical samples and sounds and a lot of heavy triggering. So I just said, what about the idea of lyrically visualizing an actual bullet pressing plant, but where it's priests walking in, giving up their crosses to be smelted down for bullets to then be given to children soldiers that are fighting for God.
That's cool.
Hence Bulletpress.
Yeah, there you go. It's brutal.
So it's hella anti-religious. That is, I guess, the general sentiment. But you can interpret it that however you want. But the lyrics, when it comes out, it's all up on Bandcamp and stuff, and it'll be attached on the video that comes out too. So, but yeah, it's definitely not church friendly.
Just in time for Christmas, mate.
It's a perfect Xmas track, man.
That's it. See, there you go. Move over, Mariah Carey.
Chuck some Christmas lights on. Go do your shopping. Put that on in your ears. You'll love it.
See, there you go. It's like that. It's just counteracts it.
That's it, man. That's it. But yeah, no, it's just honestly a passion project, and I'm just going to keep going with getting more guests.
Yeah, right.
With this
is there
track,
someone you want to get? Is there someone that you really want to get on board that you've been trying to? There's someone I can see that I can see you might ticket over.
Like, there's always someone like if you're talking like have to work with someone.
Yeah.
I would love to obviously work with any of the vocalists that have worked with Igor. That would
Yep.
just be sick.
Yes.
I would actually love to get Frank Mullen from Suffocation.
Yeah. Hey.
Because like his voice is just so percussive. If there's like a blunt hammer of a human, it's that guy's voice. It's so dry and hollow, and it's just so heavy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you're a Suffo guy, but Suffocation, there's something about that Frank Mullen's like New Yorker, you know, that kind of thick accent, like on top of it actually brings something to how heavy it sounds with the accent chucked in there. It's just like, Jesus Christ.
It's not that New York hardcore thing. You know what I mean? They've got the, you know, that's the way they.
Yeah, the really, really thick sort of. Yeah, exactly. And it's like super thick. Everything's like got a certain aesthetic and a certain mindset. You're just like, holy shit, this is insane. But yeah, Frank Mullen would be sick.
There you go.
Otherwise, yeah, I've got, oh God, at this stage, probably another 5 people lined up for the future stuff. And I won't talk about who yet, but not on here yet. But yeah, it's one of those things where there is. Yeah, no, I know. I'll share with you, dude. Cool. There's actually a list. I've reached out to a bunch of people already. A lot of them are drummers and stuff because I obviously love working with drummers because they make electronic stuff. Yeah. So if I can do guitars and everything else, and then they can add something more crazy on top, then I'm all for it. But yeah, otherwise, just keep going. I'm starting work on another EP in January.
Yeah, awesome, man.
Should be EP number 4, I think. Yeah, no, number 4. I think this is like the 5th single. It's the album. There's 3 EPs.
See, but that's a good thing. It's a good thing because it's showing that you know, how productive you are with it. You know what I mean? And it's showing that you've got that flow.
Well, it's also because it's super personal. I'm very controlled about my output, and it doesn't take me much to get inspired in a way where I can start at least constructing the shell of a few tracks. And then it might take a while to get those tracks, or I might even just like shelve them for like a year or 2 in that too hard basket. And then the weird thing happens where I'm writing a completely different thing. I go, wait a minute, that whole track or 3/4 of it, I could literally just go splice onto there, move this here, holy shit. And you're like, what? Why didn't I think of this when I was working on it? This is so frustrating, but it just happens. You know how it is, like you're writing in a jam room. Yeah. You're like, do you remember this riff we hated 2 years ago? It works really well here. And you're like, oh no, it does. I hate you.
But it's funny because Matt from Trivium said the same thing recently. There was a track, one of the best tracks on their new album is you know, based off a skeletal structure of a song they had like years ago.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, let's give it another crack. And it just ends up like, they're like, oh, they cracked the code, and ended up being like one of their best tracks.
And that's the funny thing is I feel like sometimes if it does end up clicking that naturally, it really is like the golden goose, if you will. Like you really can't beat it. Because it's uncomparable when by accident and serendipity you create this perfect storm that you're not even you saw happening. You know what I mean? I said that about Matt saying it. Because I think every musician, if they're like trying, will actually have tracks like that though, where it's the complete opposite, where it's like some thing that they thought was rubbish and they were going to throw out, and then magically you actually had a good foundation. You just didn't have the writing ability to finish it the way you wanted to.
That's it. And sometimes it's just you know, it's like a guitarist in my band. You know, we were just hanging out, and he's like just going through his hard drive. And he's like, oh yeah, there's this one, and he played this one track, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And he's like, oh, something, and I was like, this is the greatest thing I've heard. And he's like, what? I was like, don't throw it out, don't ditch that. So
and that's the thing. It happens more than you think.
Yeah.
Like a lot of stuff where I'm like going towards drag and delete, it then just gets moved to a folder instead. That's like, this is shit. Think about it later, and then you think about it later. You're like, this is actually really, really pretty good. What have I done? Or like, why didn't I think about approaching it this way?
It could have been the biggest mistake. Things you do with it. Could have been the biggest mistake, just going off into the universe. Yeah.
Exactly right,
Yeah.
man. Exactly. So, but no, it's yeah, it's definitely been a trip. There'll be a lot more of it. I don't see it stopping at any point. It's just going to keep probably getting a lot heavier,
Yeah, sick.
which is funny. Because that was never the intention. The intention was always to be dark and pretty weird, but not necessarily get back into being heavy again, considering I'd done that sort of stuff for a long time.
But it's got a good balance, man. Like there's the blend of it is really well done. You know, I think
thanks,
got
man.
it nailed.
Thanks, dude. And I think there's a certain knack I've gotten. It's not a secret or anything, but I mean, honestly, I don't see how more people don't see the unison in the metal scene, which is gothic chorale vocals and stuff, which a lot of black metal uses, a lot of death metal uses, a lot of progressive metal uses. How people don't sub out sections of the drum kit or bit crush the kick drums and the snares and stuff on their live kit, you know, because you can live process and stuff now. Why people don't try doing that stuff? Because once you do, it unlocks these textures you literally didn't have at your disposal. And just because it sounds electronic doesn't make it any less more interesting. It's like, you know, I've had this debate with people, you know, the whole electronic artist versus a band or someone playing it. Like, you know, yeah, I play some guitar stuff, but I can't play 90% of what I'm doing because it's programmed. But that's what electronic music is. I'm like, but no composer back in the 18th century could play every instrument in the orchestra that they were writing for, but they were still gods. Like, no offense. I'm not comparing myself to Beethoven or something, but what I'm saying is that the approach to music is no different. You can't say someone doesn't understand or write good music just because they can't technically perform every instrument involved in that composition.
That's it. You know, the funny, what was his name? Old actor, Honeymooners. Shit.
Oh God!
Oh man, this is before our
Honeymooners.
time. But yeah. The dude who.
I mean, I'm 36, and this is even pushing it. I know the film, but I can't think.
Oh, what was his name? Anyway, he couldn't play anything. Apparently, he couldn't play anything, but he heard music, and then he'd go and go to these orchestras and stuff, and go play this, play this, play this, play this, play this, play something that sounds like this, and he was like creating some incredible shit, but he couldn't play the stuff himself.
That's it. It's like, you know, a playwright can write an entire musical, plays piano and maybe another instrument or two, but then they need 100+ performers and a full pit orchestra plus a rock band to actually pull that off. And they cannot play all that stuff in unison, and it's never going to happen, and they can't play all of them at all. No one can learn that many instruments to a technical level in your lifetime. I'm sorry, it's just not fucking possible. Like, I don't know about you, but I know a few people who can play a lot of stuff well.
Yep.
But you can't play more than a few. Like, there is a limit to what a human can do. I think I'm sure there's a freak out there.
Yeah, but then there's those guys like you know, Prince, those really rare people who can just fucking do everything. And you're like,
yeah, well, I think like those sorts of musicians too are like, they are so rare.
Bill Bailey,
so rare.
Bill Bailey, you know.
Yep. And that's it. They're multi-talented, but if you look at what they're actually playing and doing still, they're either in a standard compositional structure with making a beat that something's performed over or whatnot, or they're playing stringed instruments.
Yeah.
Which at least stringed instruments have some comparable skills. Like, you know, my brother's a violinist. I couldn't pick up and play a violin, but I could pluck one, which would still make music if you wanted to, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But those dudes, they're insane. Like, I would never consider myself to be on a level of someone who can like multi-instrument. I'm like, I am average at best at guitar. I'm all right at like keyboard and piano. And that's about all I need to be, because the rest is theoretical, and it's just applying it and knowing how to make structures and fit, you know, things into a medium. But it's also like electronic music. Part of the thing I love that's pulled it away from metal for me is you don't have to stick to beat conventions. There's a lot of glitch stuff like Aphex Twin and stuff like that, and Square Pusher.
Oh,
where
yeah.
It's still catchy and it's got melodies, but the beat is just, you're not going to follow it. Like, no amount of ketamine is going to help you follow that beat. No, that's legit. Because I always loved Aphex Twin would talk about performing live, And
Have you seen?
one of the
Have you
things
seen him? Have you seen Richard play live?
Not personally. I've watched videos and stuff.
Oh, he's awesome.
It's nuts. But what's funny is he's not even, again, he's not performing his tracks.
Yeah, yeah. It's just
He's basically live deconstructing and putting
yeah.
filters and doing weird stuff. And everyone's like, oh, the guy's a genius. And yes, he is. But live, he's not actually performing a lot. He's just having a damn good time and getting paid a hell of a lot. And I cannot blame someone for wanting to do that.
I had a good time. I didn't care what he was doing. But
Where did you see him?
Big Day Out.
Oh, that would have been gnarly.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, I was.
So it's also dating us in Australia because we're like Big Day Out. People are like, what's that?
The fuck? I know. And here I'm talking about shit that from sitcom actors from well before our time. But I did have a point. But talking about soundtracks and the soundscapes you create, are you looking at doing soundtrack work yourself? Because I mean, visually you're amazing as well. I mean, you've made some incredible videos.
Thanks, man.
The two go hand in hand, in my opinion. Is that something that you want to, take steps towards?
I don't know. Maybe. I kind of just, it's honestly not something I've thought about yet, just because I'm still discovering what Monsters is after the last few years, because it's taken a little while to, flesh out what it is. I guess there's always the possibility. I'm never going to say no, never say never on anything, because I always say like, oh, I'm not going to do that. And then I end up doing it for 5 or 6 years. And I'm like, why? But no. I think there's always a chance of doing more of that. I'll probably explore more music video visuals than I would game stuff, because I think there's more, not necessarily a narrative, but a surrealist link, if that makes sense, where if anyone checks it out when it comes out, the actual video it's all stock footage, but it's assembled in a way that is less about what the visuals are telling you necessarily.
Yeah.
But the way the video overlays, the statics and things like that, along with the inverted cross overlays and certain visual mirroring and things like that is designed, is actually based on like a visual ideal where you're trying to almost discomfort. It's like, when you see a film like Sinister, if you've ever seen that.
You know what? It's on my list of movies to see that I've never seen.
Or let's just say anything that's got like genuinely creepy old-timey footage, like old-timey projector footage or something.
Yes.
That's how I approach it. It's almost the concept that if you were viewing it for the first time with no context, how uncomfortable can I make you feel? And that's literally how I approach the visual side.
Yeah.
Which if I had to do a game, I'm like, oh man, it would have to be something probably like an old school FPS, like something very Quake. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But there you go. Rezo. Oh, Rezo did that.
And that's the thing. Like that sort of stuff would be, it would be a dream. It's a lot of work though. I've seen mates working on that stuff, like Remy Algorithm. He does a bunch of it. And I've just seen the programming to go into that, like for the way you have to assemble tracks and things that too. Because a lot of the time you're not just writing it as a song that loops. You're writing it as passages that, depending on what's triggered.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever went in depth with like Mick Gordon on the Doom soundtrack stuff. The actual full soundtrack, like the released one in various versions, the longest one you can find is about, I think it's 3.5, 4 hours long.
Oh,
the actual game soundtrack is like, I think it's like 18. And I'm not kidding. Like, there's just weird diegetic stuff. Yeah, and it has to be written in a way that he has to understand how code can. You as a musician now have to understand the coding to understand how they're going to go. Like, if he reloads and that drum hit is cued, what cues can stem off that?
Yeah.
How will that? And I'm just like, yeah, I'm not good with maths, man. That's just a little too. I'd need someone else to get on board with me helping, because that's just at a level I can't comprehend. And those dudes are freaks. Like the fact they can write music like that and understand like reasonable level of game programming, because you can't just be like a low level programmer knowledge. I've looked at that stuff and it just isn't that easy. There's a lot of, because you have to prototype basically when you're selling it to them too.
Yeah.
It's not just the case going, my tunes are sick. You have to be like, my tunes are sick, here's how they'll work. And that's a whole lot of work unto itself. So you can understand why one composer gets dedicated to like a film or a game or something for like 2 years. When you have to write that much music.
And that's you got to be in it, hey. You'd have to be
it's like,
mentally, physically.
Well, you know, you watch a Netflix series, right? Or any of those sorts of shows, the soundtrack, they'll release it on, Spotify or whatever. And it's always like an hour and a half, but you're like, an episode's an hour, and you've heard fresh musical cues in each one.
Yeah.
So it's like, how much of that soundtrack is not put into the official one?
It's like,
and some dudes had to write all this because they're like, to meet the cut for selling, and you're like, he's probably crying in the corner going, my favorite track is never heard by anyone.
That's it, man, it's like, it'd be like Vangelis and his Blade Runner, like, and all the stuff that he did,
Yeah, like that stuff's insane. Wendy Carlos with the Tron soundtrack.
Yeah.
People can say whatever they want about those things, but those sorts of soundtracks are insane. I'm trying to remember the name of the movie. It's an old, based off a Michael Crichton novel. Jesus Christ, we're talking old. Like Jurassic Park author.
Yeah,
it's like the something project or the
Manhattan.
No. It's going to annoy me. It's like in a research-based kind of thing. But Wendy Carlos, who did Tron, did the soundtrack for that as well. And it's actually the first film score to use entirely synthesizers.
No way.
Yeah, and it's a real trip out. I'll link it to you after this.
Yeah. Hook me up.
It is really interesting to hear. It is super weird because it is literally the first implementation of an entirely synthesized score. So it is the weirdest sounding stuff you've ever heard because no one knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
and they were like, no, we're going to do it. Oh, I'm trying to remember. It's like about a virus in a goddamn bunker. It's going to annoy me. I'll find a name and tell you later, though. I know it's not going to help with this, but it's pissing me off.
This is happening with us, and it's right there, and it's in a corner somewhere. And then as soon as we'll stop chatting, it'll be like, that's what it is.
I think that's most conversations in life. You just you're good for 90%, and then you're like, oh god, what's that thing? Never mind.
We're talking about soundtracks, though. What's your favorite soundtrack? What's the one that's?
So it's this is like a really hard one because it can be many based on how I'm feeling, and that sounds really lame because everyone says that with music, but because soundtracks are like so genre specific or like contextually specific, I think if I had to think of one that was something that I could put on and listen to, I actually really like the soundtrack from Old Boy, like the South Korean film.
Yeah, no way.
It's a mixture of almost like lo-fi beats and stuff, lounge jazz, other things. The reason why is because it is so weird and eclectic. It's actually a cool listen when you're doing stuff like cooking or whatever. It almost it takes my brain to a place that is somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily music I'd listen to. I think the other really big influence on me, because when I saw this film and heard the soundtrack, I was like, I wouldn't mind doing stuff like that. And I was probably only about maybe 18, 17. Have you ever seen Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai with Forrest Whitaker?
Oh, that's going back a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a RZA soundtrack.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
But it's all Japanese. He uses, unlike Wu-Tang where there's constantly rap over it, which is fine. It has its place, and I really do enjoy it. But what's really cool about it is it's all those Eastern influences, but much more on the Japanese, like flutes and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of that sampled with his really dark hip hop beats. And that film at that point in my life, along with that music, just kind of burnt into my brain. and just because of the way I link things, like either do it biographically or to a film or something, it's just always stuck there because that particular film has always stuck with me. Like Jim Jarmusch movies just stick with me. I don't know why. I haven't even seen all of his films, but whenever I see one, it gets stuck in my head for like 5 years and I can't work it out.
I'm like that with David Lynch, man.
Yeah, well, they're
Yeah.
actually kind of similar in that they both
yeah.
have that surrealist. I mean, Lynch is obviously heavier leaning on the surrealism,
Yeah.
but they both have that odd surrealist thing where they'll take a very normal situation, like Twin Peaks diners, and it just becomes so uncomfortably out of context
Yeah.
and odd and just almost melodramatic to a point where
Yeah.
if you don't understand the artist, it's like walking in and seeing a Picasso and not actually knowing who Picasso is. Because we all know Picasso before you see a Picasso. Everyone's like, oh, Picasso paints these crazy like abstract paintings. And you see it and you're like, oh, that's Picasso. But imagine if you're the guy that first saw.
Oh, you just
You're like, what is this shit? Is that a toucan? Like you wouldn't be able to work out what anything is. It's like because it was a new thing, but it's like, you know what I mean? It kind of that sort of context is quite good. It definitely reframes things.
Yeah, but I mean, I love my David Lynch stuff, especially like the Angelo Badella. I can never say his last name. Badalamenti, composer.
Yes.
Anyway, I love his like the jazz.
I can't say it either.
No, but I love that, especially as I was saying before, like the Lost Highway soundtrack.
Well, he is a very music cue inspired director too. Like he's one of those guys that I feel like Tarantino does, where when they're writing a film, they've got some soundtrack running in their head already, and they just go, "I already know what's going to happen in this scene."
Yeah.
And because they know it that well, it just absolutely kills it when they're actually constructing the project because they've already like the painting concept. They've already done the whole thing in their head. It's already all there. They just need these people, like they just need to get there on the day and their canvas is their actors and they're just like, you stand there. Perfection. Next.
Have you ever heard Crazy Clown Time? David Lynch's album. It's like the flip of it, man. It's one of my favorite albums of all time.
I'm gonna have to check it out. I knew he did music. I just hadn't realized that.
Man, it's fucking incredible. It's literally, it sounds what it is. It's hard to describe. It's like literally you can listen to it and visually in your head you can. It's exactly what he'd do, but it's the flip of it. I can't even describe it. It's just do yourself a favor. Crank up fucking Crazy Clown Time and just let it take you there, man. It's fucking incredible.
I'm 100% down. Anything like that stuff where it just is so odd, particularly in its own place without the visuals and everything. It's like, it can be pretty damn cool. It can be pretty damn cool.
Imagine all these characters, but in song form.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's fucking cool.
Now I'm even more interested / concerned.
Yeah, man. Yep. Because you'll go, what the fuck? He sounds awful. The vocals are terrible, but then you listen to it and you go, oh, okay, I know what he's doing here. It's his characters. It's fucking cool.
And that's the thing. If you appreciate or understand an artist a certain way, it's really going to enhance that, particularly for those sorts of things. And like, I'm going to get a kick out of checking that out because I knew he did music. I just never actually bothered to look and see if he did an album.
He's got a couple, but that's the good one. The first one, it's incredible.
When's it from?
5-6 years ago, maybe longer.
Okay, so I was going to say he's only been doing like albums in recent times. Yeah, it's not an old thing, is it?
No. It's probably less.
It's not like John Carpenter, where it's like 40 years of his life. He's been writing 6 tracks.
Hey, but I do like Carpenter's stuff. There you go.
I think he's cool. I just think it's funny that the thing, which is the film he obviously gets most acclaim for nowadays, which is fine because it is a masterpiece. I think it's funny that that's the one where he wrote the original score, then hated it, so he had to get a Ennio Morricone who did the Good, the Bad, the Ugly score to do the score for it. So it's like the one time he didn't actually do a score
I
for
did
his
not know
film.
that. There you
It's the best one. Yeah, no. So from my understanding, all he wrote was the synth, the do do do, and the dun 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 dun
Oh, there you go.
dun,
I didn't
dun.
know that.
That's it. Everything else is an orchestral score, but they minimized what instruments they use, so it was like a very small like chamber kind of group because they just wanted certain elements highlighted. But Morricone famously hated electronics. So the compromise was for the theme, they would let him have his synth thing with the dun 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 dun. But otherwise, yeah, it's like you watch the film, it's all orchestral stuff. It's more like Aliens or something. It's more traditional.
Yeah, but what about Big Trouble in Little China? You know, the song, the theme.
I'm pretty sure that's written by John Carpenter. Which wouldn't surprise me. I mean, there's the Ghosts of Mars soundtrack. I don't know if anyone's ever. It's a pretty average film, but the soundtrack is hilarious because it's got like dudes from Anthrax and Buckethead.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like the most odd grouping of people you could get for a soundtrack, and it amazingly kind of works, but with the film, no. No one needs to see Jackie Brown and the transporter fighting space zombies.
It's terrible. I was so disappointed. He's hit or miss, but I do love him. But I mean,
go watch it for the cast now. Just go back and watch it one day and watch the cast because you're going to be like, I can't believe these people are in this movie.
Is it LL Cool J or is it?
Oh yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's LL Cool J. It's like Pam Grier from Jackie Brown, bloody Jason Statham. There's just all these actors where you're like, why are you in this damn film? What was so bad in your life at this point in time?
I need the money. I need more Cool J.
Hey, everyone needs a job, right?
That's it. That's right. But in regards to you playing live, I mean, I know it's a bit, tricky at the moment, but are you wanting to take this on the road?
Maybe not touring and stuff, but one of the things I've done is random gigs here and there, which has been funny. Like first time for a project where it's not a metal band, like the deal with a metal band. Whether you're new or not, you are playing local shows. You're going to play some random ones, at least on your first band or two. There's no compromising on that. You might eventually have some kind of pull or something where you can have a bigger launches and things like that straight off the bat. But one of my things with this is I just wanted to get gigs based on getting gigs, if that makes sense, but be selective about what I applied for. I didn't want to just be doing a show every week. So this project's been around since 2018. Yeah, 2018. And I've literally only played like 6 times live in that entire time. And it was like pretty selective. I've done purely electronic sets.
Yep.
Before I was doing guitar stuff, which was stuff at Crowbar, doing like late set. I did like a late set after a mate, like at a album launch thing. It's like my first thing. So it was just like after all the bands had played. So it's sort of like an after party thing, which is cool because it was chill and it was friends. So it was like no pressure. Then after that, I ended up going down and doing Laser Highway in Melbourne, which is like one of the synthwave clubs down there, which is actually like the main synthwave club down there, which was fun. That was pretty hectic, and I'm going to go do that hopefully, issues providing and COVID and everything else. Hopefully do that next year sometime again, because I really do want to go down and play again because it was really damn fun. Other than that, a couple more local things. We just did a show in, I want to say September, but I also want to say October because we had to delay it once or twice.
Yeah,
because lockdown stuff.
Yeah.
So like I remember one date and then I'm like, was that the actual date we ended up playing? You know what I mean? Like, did we plan that date? But we did do the show. That was fun. It was like a small little intimate venue here, O'Sculligan's, but it was sold out, so that was sweet. So we did our capacity thing and that made everyone happy, which is always nice. Other than that, the only other show I've really done was when I first kind of really jumped up and went, I'm going to do guitars on lots of stuff. Because I'd done one show where I did like 2 songs where I went, I'm going to play guitar. I've never played guitar live. So I was just like, let's see how this plays out. So it was like low-key local show just for the first time. And then the time where I actually did it for most of the show was Perturbator.
That's right. Yeah.
Because it was just me. So I had to do it's like a 45-minute or a 50-minute set. So I wrote an EP 3 weeks before the show with more guitar stuff and more tracks so I could pad out my set even longer.
How was that?
It was sick. It was fun. The show was really good. From what I heard, I played fine. People dug it. James is a nice dude. I met him over in Europe a few years ago with Remy and stuff. Very chill. We're both Godzilla fanboys, so pretty much within 5 minutes, I'm like, "Have you seen this limited vinyl thing?" And he's like, "What?" We just start talking crap about Godzilla. But yeah, like a lot of that, just old electronic stuff. But I mean, he's like a level of electronic artist that is unto itself nowadays. He's somehow managed to be both an electronic artist but a cult rock star, if that makes any sort of sense, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
No one in the electronic scene rides that vibe because everyone's like, once you hit a certain level, you become the dude who's doing festival circuits. That's like, mad doof pinger fests where it's just really bad club techno and stuff, and you might be a good headliner or whatever.
Yep.
But he's made this insane niche where and I'm not saying this in a bad way, him and a whole bunch of the other synthwave artists that have gotten big, like Ghost and stuff, they've all sort of found this way to cut into the metal scene and just like the occult kind of music scene.
Yeah.
In a way that no one else could. And they've combined everything. They've combined good songwriting, the visuals, film aesthetics, the horror movie aesthetics. Basically, every nerd niche genre can be mashed into synthwave or something thereof, and it works. I mean, it also probably helped that film Drive came out. Got really famous. Because, Kavinsky off that was probably the first guy, because he was this dude who's sort of Daft Punkish, but he had that synthwave vibe, and he's what you technically call a synthwave artist. So once that blew up, there was this point where that blew up, that film became a cult thing. As you know, cult things generally link into the metal subgenres and everything else. And then within 3 years, all of a sudden, hey, pulsing electronic 80s style synth music that sounds dark is really popular again. What is going on? And it just kind of came out of nowhere at that point. I remember it was about a 6-month period where I was hearing some stuff, and then it was just Metal Injection, every other site just covering it, day in, day out.
Yeah.
Constantly. And you're like, what the hell?
It's good. It kicks, because I guess I think about a lot, like there's the whole industrial thing for years has always been on that fringe of that. You know what I mean? There's always been that, and then the tech metal came in, like the, your Fear Factory and stuff like that. So it's always been slowly sort of melding over. And then
that's it. To me, it's never been a new thing. It's just something where like certain groups have gotten some kind of fame, or not even fame, notoriety, I guess is a better word for it. But they've gotten that. And then they've gravitated and become bigger. But then you only find one of those people every 10, 15 years. There's only one ministry. There's only one thing. I'm not the biggest fan of those guys, but there is only one of them. Yeah. Everyone who tried to copy it is not a famous band.
No, that's it. That's right.
Not joking. They're not a famous band. It's like, it's almost like the new metal thing. Yeah, people considered it a fad when it happened, but you've also got the flip side, which is the fact that the few bands that really cut through, Slipknot.
Yeah, that's
stuff
right.
like that.
That's right.
They are never going to go away. Like, it's no different to Metallica. Like, I don't see why people don't see the similarity in that subgenre to any other one coming through, like thrash. Someone's going to smack me in the head, go, "Oh, thrash is more true." It's like, yeah, okay, cool. It is, but you also got to remember, unless you're one of about 8 bands, you don't have a good career in it, and you're not living off it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not like one of the big 4 or whatever it is, and then like Testament, Creator, or I don't know, Exodus. I mean, Exodus, probably half of them have day jobs. I don't even know nowadays. I mean,
yeah, it's true. Like, like Overkill. I think,
people seem to not understand that, like, quite well-known big metal bands from the 80s and 90s literally don't have incomes off their music, and they just make music because they like music still.
That's it. I think Bobby Blitz from Overkill's a chocolate. What do you call him? Chocolate maker.
I always Bobby Blitz. It always cracks me up because I remember like watching like metal videos as a kid, and there was an Overkill one for horror. Is it Horoscope?
I think so.
He's got like blue fake lightning in his eyes, and it's all desaturated in black and white.
I've ever seen that.
Like the tightest jeans, and he keeps whacking his thigh like it's an AC/DC video. It's so good.
I'm gonna look that up.
It's literally a comedy, man. Pretty sure it's Horoscope, but it's like black and white, and it starts off looking like, oh, is this gonna be like a Terminator vibe? And it's just like, it's just like AC/DC. It'll like a worker's yard vibe, but it's a trash video.
That's brilliant.
It's actually really
funny.
I like Overkill a lot, by the way. I'm not giving shit. I just think that video is hilariously like era appropriate when you see it. It's just really weird.
There's a lot of those.
Oh, God,
what about Dark Mofo? I think that'd be fucking cool.
Yeah, so like I would love to play Dark Mofo for myself. Like, yeah, if I was going to do more stuff, Dark Mofo is definitely a goal. And for anyone who doesn't know that listens to this, it's like a big arts music culture festival that happens in Tasmania here, but it's also heavily influenced by pagan like rituals and festivus and all that sort of stuff. So it's like a lot of weird red crosses and things burning, and yeah. And if anyone's interested and hasn't looked at it, just look up some of the bills they've had in the past, and it's
incredible.
It's insane. It's like extreme metal, and then the next night it's like Ulver and Sun playing back to back, and you're like, okay, you win.
Man, I wanted to go. Was it last year before? I can't remember. And they had a mentor. Like,
oh, that was
when was that?
Is that this year?
I don't know.
I want to say this year. I actually think it was this year because I think it was after the Mentors Due album came out.
Yeah, I think it was. And I was
no, it was because
yes.
the dudes from Growth, who are a sick band, they're some wild close friends.
Fucking amazing.
They were really devoed because they were meant to be playing it, and I felt really fucking awful for them because the lockdown stuff prevented them from being able to travel or something. But then Amenta guys could at the time or whatnot. Amenta are like literally my favorite Australian live metal band
Me too.
in history.
Me too.
High five.
Yeah, I know. I will forever say it. They are my favorite Australian metal band. Like I think,
and in any iteration, it doesn't bother me. I've seen OG Amenta.
Yep.
That stuff was crushing ass. It was menacing. Then you've got like middle era, and now you've got the newer era, and it doesn't matter. The dudes just have an intensity live that no one seems to honestly be able to match.
It's true. 100%.
Or even try and replicate. It's really bizarre.
But on an artistic side of things, like Kane, I think he's just next level. Like, he's one of the best dudes.
Oh, gotcha.
Shout out to Kane. But fuck, man, that dude is...
Hi, Kane.
Hi, Kane. But fuck, he's just... I just think what he does is just incredible vocalist, but artistically as well. Visually, he's just he knows how to do shit.
I also think it sounds really dumb, but I think they approach an extreme metal band in a way that I appreciate more than other metal bands. Again, I put out lots of music. I pump it out. There is something artistically wholesome about the fact that those dudes just pull the plug sometimes.
Yeah.
More than once in their career. They've just pulled the plug, and they've disappeared for like 6 years, whatever, 7, 8, 10. I can't remember nowadays, but it was a lot in between those gaps. And then they always come back with a slight change, but not in a way that's remotely disingenuous to what they were trying to achieve ever.
That's it.
It just becomes a new element. And that's, again, I think another part of extreme music or extreme metal particularly is it doesn't have to be what you typically think of. Like, it doesn't have to be blast beats into slam, into black metal riff, into fucking thrash section, into whatever. Like, it's a very archetypal way of writing that stuff. And the Amenta, I think, are the perfect crossover where, like, Monsters is definitely heavily inspired. I love those dudes. Like, I've known them since day dot. they are amazing people. I've always tried to hang out with them when they're around and whatnot. They're just good fun.
That'd be a sick tour.
I would love to do it.
Yeah.
I would love to do it because that's like one of the things I've also been playing around with the idea of, which is getting a live drummer at some point.
That'd be cool.
Some of the songs are completely impossible, and I understand that. So there would either be hey, you take a break and just get to chug beer for 5 minutes or whatever, like chill. You know what I mean? Like there are groups that not everyone performs every song. I don't find anything weird about that. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's true.
I don't play guitar in every song. Like there's songs where I use sample guitar because I'm doing more on the electronics and I need my synths and controllers and stuff to actually do it. Whereas if I were triggering it, then I'd feel lazy because I'd just be playing an open note in a weird pattern. Like that's not playing a riff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to me, it's just that's just being disingenuous to myself at that point.
But they can always, there's other things that, drummers can do. A lot of drummers are pretty clever. They can play other stuff while they're...
That's the thing. I just think people need to break out of like what people want out of the music. I know that sounds really horrible. And almost like, if you're a diehard fan of a band, you're going to go, oh no, don't do that, please. But I don't see the issue because you really do have to push yourself sometimes.
Some of the best stuff has come out of that though. I mean, where fans have been like, what the fuck are you doing? But then, we wouldn't have some of the best albums around if bands didn't do that, Well,
I mean, a good example is Matt, Cryptopsy, who I worked with.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like the first album he appeared on. Because it's got the metalcore breakdowns and the clean singing and the keyboards and it's really more of a deathcore kind of Cryptopsy. It's not even fully Cryptopsy at times. But then anyone who's followed them still knows they worked out that from their system. And I personally still had fun with that album. Like at that point in time, I was listening to a lot of deathcore and other stuff. So I was like, oh, sick, Cryptopsy doing deathcore. I'm like, yeah. But then it was kind of funny to see them then come back. And then everything they've released since is just more extreme than they've ever pushed their music.
Yeah.
I think possibly. I don't know if Flo can possibly get more inhuman. I know there are faster drummers and stuff now, but the way the dude approaches patterns and fills structures and stuff, he always leads with this, like, I don't know if you've ever seen it. There was a video by Martin, Martin Janenovic, whatever his name is. I'm just really bad. I feel horrible saying it wrong. He's like a drum dude on YouTube. He does drum breakdowns and metal technique stuff and that.
Yeah, I think I know the dude. Yeah.
And he did one on Flow. And I thought it was really interesting because, yes, there is like the Art Spy drummer Spencer is just a machine and goes at 350 BPM. It's just,
yeah.
But there's something about seeing someone like Flo who he's showing is doing his full stroke kick hits. And you can tell he's getting, like, he wasn't warmed up enough or whatever. And Martin, dude, when the camera angle changes, it's like a high angle, draws on there, and he's like, so if you look here, you'll notice his knee is no longer going up and down and is now locked in position. So, like, Flo's at a technical level where he realized he was too tired for full strokes.
Yeah.
So he went to heel and toe in the middle of the whole section, and you can't actually, if you listen to it isolated, you can't hear.
That's insane.
It change. And I don't know many drummers who can comfortably change. They can play speeds constantly up and down with the same technique.
Yeah.
But going switching gears without losing that tempo is not really normal.
Oh.
That's a point where you're like just living with your instrument and you just know how to use everything on it.
It's just fucking crazy. It's just fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But
I don't understand that.
No, neither do I. I can't play. I can't. I can barely, I can hit one thing, and that's it. That's all I do. I just yell.
I'm like, that's all I did for years, man. It's good therapy.
We had some good times, man. We had some good times.
We did. Many actually over the years. God. I think it's been a long time since I've done the metal stuff, but yeah, God, Schoenberg was around for years, and then Cross the Lips before that, and a few others. So yeah, it was a lot of occasions. I think we've hung out for anyone who doesn't know us.
Yeah, man. Was it the basement and What was the other one?
Basement, Rosie's.
Rosie's.
God, Indie Temple, if you were ever kicking around there.
Yeah, not that one. The other one.
That place was. The Indie Temple was weird, man. The place was a weird venue, but it was also really cool because I saw some weird ass shows there, like Exhumed.
Really?
And we're talking this place is like a velvet set. This is in Brisbane, by the way. Indie Temple, it was like shut down for years. It's like a 70s style velvet underground lounge bar.
So
it has like the pillars and the booth tables everywhere with the little lamp sort of deal. Exhumed place.
That's fucking crazy.
That is crazy. It's one of the. I've always loved that sort of like death grind, thrash grind stuff, and it just that set is burnt into my brain because halfway through the last song, the power cut out.
Oh.
And the band just looked at each other and kind of they literally just shrugged and went, "Hey, we're Exhumed. Thanks, guys." And they just walked off. Like they didn't bother finishing or anything. They're just like, that was fun. But yeah, I saw Deeds of Flesh play there.
Wow.
Like original Eric lineup Deeds of Flesh, like OG Deeds of Flesh.
And Brisbane's a bit weird like that. I saw Drab Majesty.
Yeah.
And the Black Queen.
Was that at Black Bear?
The Lodge. It's like this tiny little. Yeah, man. I was like
upstairs, little box sort of thing.
Tiny little like. I was like, I didn't understand.
And it looks like a little lounge bar kind of thing, like almost like a lounge bar. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about as wide as this room. It's tiny.
And like I'm all for small venues, but it's like for a band like Drab Majesty, that's odd. But you know, I also think the people putting on that show are smart enough to realize that the market for that stuff isn't big enough here yet. But if you do the right venues with the right ticket price point, etc., you're actually going to come out in the green.
Well, I saw them. I can't remember the last venue I saw them at. It wasn't long ago, but it was fucking awesome, man. Good turnout, good show.
Well, hopefully that's how it goes in the future with gigs. Like people. I actually, the one thing I know this sounds really horrible as a musician because there's probably people out there going, "No, shut up." But like for the local scene, as far as I'm concerned, like international stuff, that you know, the big acts from here that go internationally, they have to do what they're doing.
Yep.
But I wouldn't mind seeing a slight bring back of what the local scene is. Don't have bands playing every. I mean, it's fine if you want to be playing. I'm not hating on you, but every band has a point where they're playing a lot of gigs, but there's a point where you're playing too much in your own like playground.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
and you get so oversaturated, and you're not going to get the response you want, and you kind of become the band that plays shows to their mates and the drunk guys that think they're funny or whatever. You know what I mean? And I've seen years of those from the basement, that's for sure. I don't ever want to get to the point that I'm in a band and I'm doing that.
I mean, it's cool if you want to like bash it, like, because we're going to be doing it. We're going to be playing a string of shows in Queensland.
No, but that's the thing. Doing a run is sweet.
You know, we're playing Gold Coast, Brisbane, because there's nowhere else to play. But then I think
it's not for metal. No,
you know, but we've got some stuff booked. But apart from that, I don't think we're going to be looking at overplaying. You got to find that. You got to find that. You know, the picky and choosy a little bit, just so you're not overplaying.
Oh yeah. Like by all means, you still have to do your runs and stuff.
Yeah,
but
man.
There's the bands that literally play a show every fortnight, wherever they can get a show every fortnight. And it's like you'll see them on every lineup. And technically, if you're playing shows and you're getting good, you should be moving up the lineup.
Yeah.
And then they're constantly just on the lineup, if that makes sense. Like they're just there.
But
that's the point where I always rethought about music. But I mean, everyone has a different thing. Again, I'm not hating on you if you love getting shit faced and playing with your mates. Like, by all means, Jesus Christ, do it.
I live for
it. That's it. Some of the best music's formed out of that. But I think it becomes something else at one point.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things. It definitely becomes something else at one point.
That's true.
And that's where it either becomes something you become pretty focused on, and it's still a passion project, but it's something wholly different to you, almost spiritually different, if you want to say it that
Yep.
way. Or it becomes something you have to do because without it, you can't exist or whatnot.
That's where I'm at.
Well, and that's the thing. Like I think I made the joke earlier about the therapy thing with vocals. Like, there's a lot of catharsis in screaming at nothing.
100%. Oh, dude, it's the best thing in the world. As you know that feeling.
That's the one thing I do miss from
Yeah.
doing, like, playing this stuff live is great and I love it and people have seemed really into it, but I don't finish a set feeling exhausted and like I've broken every bone in my body. And that's weird because vocals, when you're a vocalist, you kind of do.
Yeah.
If you're really going nuts and you go, and I mean, you know, particularly from me back in the day, I had a very, very bad habit of hitting walls, ceilings, jumping off everything, constantly moving backwards and forwards to the point that I
used to love,
man.
like used to love watching you do your thing. It was a good time.
Someone referred to me once as they were like, I came here to watch a band, not fucking tennis, and I just started laughing.
You feel it, man. It's a physical thing, you know. You feel that whole thing, you know.
Well, and Schoenberg lyrically, well, it's lyrically an anxiety thing. When I was doing Schoenberg, like, it was purely anxiety, that music.
Yeah,
we were all awkward dudes writing stuff that we had no right writing at that point in time. Well, I don't feel like we did, but everyone's just, those dudes are still freaks. They're all insane-o. Like we talked about, Nelson's doing Growth now. So
yeah, man.
Great.
I love that. I love that last album. So good. But
I think Zimmy's cooking something up, so I'm sure we'll see that a lot of days. Shane's composing or working in a studio in Canada now.
Really? Oh, that's
he's working for a studio that I think I can't say what projects, I can't remember how much of it's like not like NDA'd or whatever, because he hasn't told me NDA'd stuff, but I don't even know how much of his position is like talked about. But if you go on his Instagram, he's got it listed. He's working for a studio that does like game sound design and stuff. So he's like shadow composing. So he has to do all like the session setups for like a chief composer. So you're literally like talking like rejigging entire studios for like multi-million-dollar composer kind of guys. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, that's insane, man. Good on you.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I've always found that interesting. Like, again, he's following what he was good at, which was, he's an insane guitarist, but he was also probably the main composer of Schoenberg. And he's obviously got a knack for composition. He had Empyrean before it, and I know he was quite heavily involved in the writing. I don't know, again, I don't know with those guys how much everyone wrote with that, but I think that was a lot more of a shared project. But same sort of deal. It has that weird eclectic focus, and I guess he's followed that down another rabbit hole.
I have to look him up. It's been a very, very long time. It's been a very long time.
Yeah. He's been over there, God, can't even think now, 4 or 5 years. Can't remember when they stopped doing the Schoenberg stuff, because I was like, you know, I was out of the picture for a few years after that, so I can't even remember when they finished it up at that point. So those boys went hard when they did. So
did.
But, even not in the band, I still appreciated the music.
Yeah, hey man, you got to. It was really good times. But dude, thanks for hanging. Well, it's empty. But thanks for hanging out on the show, dude. We'll have all the links down here for all your stuff. Monsters Around Us. Sick. Need some merch. I got to get some merch. You got merch?
Oh, don't worry. I will. I had shirts and stuff when I was doing Perturbator and whatnot, but with COVID, just being lazy and spending more on studio gear and stuff. But I am a big fan of like stitched caps and stuff like that, like I'm wearing right now.
Yeah, right.
For anyone
who,
so yeah, I'm going to be looking at doing a bunch of those for the single in the early part of next year, because all the artwork I've got done, which I don't know, did you see the actual single artwork? It's on my Facebook anyway. And my
yeah. I'll look that up. But I do
the comic book kind of art stuff.
Yes, I did actually. I did see that one. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, so that's a dude I met through Twitter, Jeff Elkins, who does comic art. But I met him randomly because he was retweeted by Neil Blomkamp, the District 9 director.
Oh wow, holy shit!
And so at that point in time, Neil Blomkamp was doing that Oat Studio stuff that we had short filmed.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically Jeff did like these insane poster designs for some of the short films, and Neil was like, these are nuts, and just started going, can I repost these and whatnot? And that's how I found Jeff, and I was like, so your work's sick, here's the tracks that I'm working on, any interest? And he was like, yeah, okay. And we've just always worked together since. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. But dude, thank you for hanging.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the chat, man. You know, it's been a bit too long. We'll definitely have to catch up for brews in the future.
That's exactly